Yes, sir. Run Pure Sports. We build winners on this show, or that's what we try to do anyways. And we got some winners for you guys today. Hope you enjoy this show with my man Big T in the house, sporting his damn Nuggets hat. He's got his shirt on. He's ready to go. He's ready to troll me right now. Big T, are the people going to get another JSU Suck It live on the air today? Because I will say that was probably my favorite part of the entire show 2 days ago was the Big T. He got up out of his chair. If you didn't see this, people, it was very good. I think our guy Matty Ice even made a GIF out of it too. So I mean, it's so good. We'll have to show it at some point during the show. I'll have to change the change the screen share just to show people the suck. I mean, it was full on. You couldn't even see his head anymore. He stood all the way up out of his chair, gave me the legit like ball bag suck it. I mean, Big T, you're feeling yourself right now. The Nuggets are feeling themselves. And I know you feel good going into this, I mean, pivotal game 5, right?
Yeah, it's been a crazy series. Obviously, Minnesota totally destroying them in game 2. Nuggets getting off the mat in game 3, and then the game 4 game, they played one of the best games they've played on the road. And now we got game 5 and massive game. All those Minnesota T-Wolves fans just hating me on Twitter and in the YouTube comments. Can't wait. It's gonna be a battle. The spread's only 4. I think game 1 was like 6.5 to 7.5. It got a little lower in game 2. Game 3 and 4, where Minnesota was obviously favored by a couple at home. And then now -4. So it shows you the series, how tight it is. Now Mike Conley pops up questionable today. That'll be interesting if he can't go, because one of my issues with Minnesota coming into the series was they just don't have anyone that can create outside of Ant was my issue. No scorers. And Conley, even though I think he's super old and not as good anymore, he's at least able to handle the ball, and he will hit open shots. I feel like he's made every single open shot he's shot in the series. So he would be a big time loss, in my opinion. On top of, I don't want to totally dive into this game, but you got the Rudy Gobert issue.
Don't do it yet, because we still got to talk about it.
I'll flip the script real quick and talk about the other series open too, which obviously the Knicks won a couple tough games at home. And then Indiana won a somewhat tough game where they hit the long 3. It was a close game. They won that, and then they pounded the Knicks in game 4 to even it back up. I know in the Discord at Run Pure, we were all over the Pacers plus 450 after the 2 games just because of the OG. Looking at you being there, you said that was a bad bet. But with the OG injury, it was just a big-time injury, obviously. Now it's 2-2. Knicks still a slight favorite at home, but man, it looks tough. It looks tough for the Knicks. They're going to need these Villanova guys, the Villanova 3 or whatever they call themselves, to do what they do and step up and make shots and really play above their skill set. I'll even say that above their ceiling. They need to go above their ceiling.
I mean, they've been doing that though. I mean, outside of the last game, they've been doing that. That's why they're in the position they've been in. So the Knicks
they've only
have
not
to do
had
that.
OG for 2 games too. So, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, again though, but I'm just saying in general, those guys have to do that, or they're going to get blown out again. They have to be in this game.
They're going to have.
And Jalen Brunson has to play better too. I mean, they need him offensively. He Tony. If I told you Jalen Brunson had 25 actual points, the Knicks lose by double digits, right?
He's going to have a big game for sure. The only way I would say the other way is if you get like Dante a couple games ago, or he just makes every shot. Hart gets every rebound. I mean, they're just going to have to make a ton of plays, because I can even pull up the Knicks here on SaberSim. If I get rid of
before we get into the Knicks, because I do just want to bring up a few things from yesterday, since we had some actually really good games yesterday. And Tony, we were not on the Donnie Mitch was going to sit during our show, which was earlier, by the way. And then we got the news later. I think Myers was one in the chat. He was kind of dropping some news saying, a beat writer was thinking the Donnie Mitchell was going to sit. I wasn't even in the building at the time, and this was kind of in the afternoon. And then, that news happened, and I know you were just about to leave, I think, for like practice or something like that, but you kind of fixed your content and everything.
Yeah.
And me and Rubio went on playback real quick. We went on playback just to kind of give like updated thoughts and everything like that. And the one thing I remember I was just like pretty like 100% on was like, one, Isaac Okoro sucks. That still stands. Two, the one guy out of the starters that everyone was going to play that I thought was by far the worst play of like the four best plays, meaning outside like Karis LeVert, Darius Garland, Max Strus, and Evan Mobley were the four best plays that I'm talking about. I said, the guy I'm lowest on is definitely Evan Mobley because he was the only guy that was priced somewhat correctly in those four, even with these guys out. And I was like, those other guys are they're just hard not to play at their price tags. They're literally all 1,000 or more too cheap. Like every single one of them, all three of them end up pretty much, on the winners and stuff like that. You needed them. Evan Mobley was the one that kind of dudded from the standpoint. Like if you played him, you might have won money, but you weren't shipping a tournament with him. So I think me and Rubio were right on a lot of the stuff we talked about there. And then your boy Derek Lively, I think, was on the winner. We talked about him and the bigs for Dallas. SGA was on the winner. We talked about him and not Luka. And I know he started out slow, but I think we got a lot of things right overall on the two shows combined, even without the Donnie news on the first show. Obviously, I think we got a lot right from yesterday. And I saw a few members were, I think, a PJ Washington free throw away from shipping the $20. It was like, I think it was like a four-way chop that finished with the $20. And the team just behind it, I think there was 2 or 3 Run Pure members, and our boy AP was in there too. They would have all chopped if PJ Washington made that first free throw at the very end of the game. They lost by 0.75, but had a really good team. The difference between their team too, Tony, which is wild to me, was Drew Holiday over PJ Washington. Somehow Drew Holiday ended up being the difference in the winner by 0.75 to PJ Washington, which I know just disgusts you because like that was the one guy out of the dudes who smashed. We were probably the lowest or not on from the show, but it was definitely annoying seeing that. I was hoping those guys could get that. And unfortunately they didn't get there, but still, I know one of them, I think Jason was one of the guys. He had a single bullet, one lineup, $20, and put it in there, won 1,200 just with that one lineup. So great team those guys built. I forget the other two guys' names, but hell of a team. And man, I thought they were going to get there at the end, Tony.
Yeah, it hurt my soul too looking at it because the whole team, like you said, was pretty much guys that we talked up and really liked. I know it's only a 2-game slate, so it's not like we're saying we were hitting needles in a haystack, but it was still the right plays and the right fades. And then the one guy we hated, Drew Holiday, somehow ends up in the winner over PJ Washington, who just honestly felt like the easiest play of the slate. Oh, not once the Cleveland news hit, but still like one of the best plays of the slate, PJ Washington, and to see Drew Holiday in there over him, just that's not right. That's brutal. That's a brutal beat because I love the team.
Smashed in that first half too. The other thing I do want to say is, and I posted it on Twitter. I posted the screenshot, Tony, of Boston. They're minus 130 to win the title, and I'm watching the game, right? Because I watched the whole game from start to finish. I know you only saw the second half, but I watched the whole game, and I'm watching this game, and I'm just like, every time Boston looks like they're just going to kill this team, they stop, and then the team comes back, and then they go on a run. And then the team comes back. It's like Boston goes through lulls, like the mountain back down, and they just keep doing this, right? And they can never just like step on someone's throat and finish it. That team had Donovan Mitchell out, who was pretty much the one scoring for them. Darius Garland in the series hadn't been good up to that game for the most part. And really in the playoffs, he was not that good. And Karis LeVert was their second best offensive player. And the dude came out hot for the first quarter and a half, got hurt in the second quarter, went to the locker room, Tony, came back in with like 3 minutes-ish left in the second quarter and was limping around the entire rest of the game, gutting out a knee injury, I think it was. But the dude was like literally sitting in the corner for the rest of that game, Tony. They had Max Struss when Darius Garland went out. They had Max Struss being the primary ball handler, like playing point guard. That's how bad his knee had to have been, that Karis LeVert, when Darius Garland went out of the game, couldn't be the primary ball handler. His knee had to have been killing him. He was relegated to the corner for like the rest of that game. And Cleveland still could have won that game. That's how bad it was that Boston let that team with their best player and their third best offensive weapon, and no Jared Allen, may I add, for the whole series, just pretty much out, Tony. It was rough for me to watch and be like, how the hell is this team minus 130? And I get they're in the East and all that stuff, but I don't care.
But that's a big thing to understand
but I don't care. The West, whoever wins this series between Denver and Minnesota is going to rock Boston. I'll say it right now. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Minnesota or if it's Denver. The winner of this series is finishing Boston, probably in 5 games, maybe 6. Maybe I'll say 6 out of respect for the talent they have. But I just don't see it. Like, they're lucky the Knicks lost OG, because I was ready to pick the Knicks if they were healthy. I can't do it now if they don't have OG. Like, OG's huge for the Knicks, but I wanted to. I was hoping I'd get the Knicks healthy against Boston, because I know everyone will be against the Knicks outside of the Knicks fans. But man, I was just sitting there. I'm just like, this team, they better pray they get healthy Porzingis back. I don't even believe that's going to happen, though. I'm very questionable on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a role reversal for us, because I'm higher on Boston than you are. I just think they're literally coasting, like totally coasting. And
the problem with coasting, though, is at some point you're going to get punched in the mouth and you're going to still try to be coasting. That's the problem.
I mean, I'm definitely way more confident if Denver plays them, but I mean, I will definitely like Boston over Minnesota. So I will. Minnesota's not going to get there, though.
Would you like Boston over Dallas?
I would like Boston over anyone but Denver. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, Dallas looks. That was the other one yesterday. I bet Dallas for the series. I bet Dallas the first 3 games. And then yesterday I was like, I just think I got to take OKC. And I bet OKC, got that one. So that series I felt pretty good. Man, Luka just looks rough to me right now. And this is another reason Boston, even though they lost Porzingis, so I'm contradicting what I'm about to say. One of the things by coasting, you can stay a little fresher and healthier. And these other teams are going through battles out there, where you got Conley popping up today. You've had, I mean, so many guys pop in with injuries. Jamal last week we were worried would even play. So a lot can change. And one of the things I think about, like Boston being minus 130, you always can just take that right now. And this is how I look at it, which is a little different than I think how you do, is with the hedge ability. Like, as long as they don't play Denver, I feel good about my number, which they might play Denver. But even if it's Denver, it's not like Denver, because Boston's got home court. So Boston's going to be, say it's Boston, Denver, it's going to be somewhere around an even line. Like, there's not going to be anything crazy.
You think Boston's favored over Denver?
With home court, I think it's very close, depending on how the next series goes, too. Like, if Denver gets through this, just say they win the next 2, win 4-2. They win the next series 4-2 again, say, and they go into the finals like that, maybe Denver is a slight favorite, just being the champ. But I don't know. Boston with home court, Boston's been the best team all year as far as record and stuff, even though we don't. I agree with you on the fact that I don't think Boston's that good. I do agree with you there. The problem is they just literally get a free ride.
I just don't trust Boston, though. Like, I would trust Denver in these situations. Like, I do not trust Boston. Yeah. And I think it's crazy at minus 130. I refuse at minus 130. I'm not doing it. I disagree with you, like, on the Denver part. Like, I think Denver's favored over that. Like, it's just I don't want to take them at that number when I think that they probably lose to the majority of the teams in the
Yeah.
West. The one thing I will say, though, is I agree with you on the point about Dallas with Luka. He's definitely hurt. He's playing through probably 3 different injuries. The guy's got like a foot injury, a knee injury, probably a back injury. Like
He's
he's
got a flopping
literally,
injury too. I'm starting to turn on him with the Embiid thing where, Luka, I love you, man, but you are flopping way too much for me.
you know what it is though, Tony? I think it's one, he's really injured. Like he's actually really hurt. So he can't do a lot of the things. But he's trying to embellish more because in the playoffs, you're not getting as much of a whistle. And Lou Dort is literally like shoving him around. Like I just remember one play where he caught the ball off a made basket to inbound, and Lou Dort's like right in his mug, right under their hoop. And he just throws the ball to, I don't know if it was Tim Hardaway. And right after that, the camera kind of goes away, but you can see Lou Dort just 2-hand shove. And Luka just like falls back. And I'm just like, yeah, that stuff, that's what I like though. That's the stuff I like that like defenders do, but that stuff gets in guys' heads. And then Luka's going to try and, embellish when that happens. So he's going to fall back further than he would. You know what I mean? He's going to get up slower when he falls down or flops and stuff. He's going to grab his knee and do all that type of stuff, trying to get everyone's attention. So I get it. I get why he's doing it, and I can see why you'd be mad.
It's painful. Like it is painful to me when these guys flop this much.
But this is the crazy part. The difference in that game, even with Luka being hurt, it wasn't even about Luka. I don't think it was even about OKC. The difference in that game was free throws. You had OKC shoot 95%, 23 of 24 from the free throw line. And it's not the free throw disparity because there was only a 1 free throw difference. But when you shoot 52% from the free throw line and go 12 for 23, and the other team shoots 95%, you're probably going to lose. Like that's it. And they did. And I thought that was the biggest difference between the win and loss, because Dallas was up that entire game until the last like 3 minutes in the fourth quarter or whatever it was when OKC got the lead. Up to that point, Dallas was controlling that game, and OKC had a really bad game from the 3-point line, which was why Dallas was up early. OKC couldn't hit anything early from 3. They shot like 25% from 3. But that, coupled with Kyrie Irving scoring 9 points, when you shoot 52% from the free throw line and Kyrie Irving gives you 9 points, Tony, you're not winning most of those. I'm surprised they were that close with those numbers. That's how crazy that is. That's why I'm actually a little more confident with them losing that game, because I'm looking at these numbers like, okay, is Kyrie Irving going to score 9 points in the next game? Probably not. He's probably going to do better. And I don't think they're going to shoot 52% from the free throw line. But if that happens again in OKC, they'll probably lose by 20. Like that's what would happen in a normal game. So I guess if you're a Dallas backer, that's the way I look at it. I think there is like a bright side, even though Luka's hurt and everything like that.
Yeah,
from what
I
I've
still
seen.
like that. I mean, I still like Dallas for sure in the series. I mean, OKC just looks too young to me. I know I kind of I said it to start the playoffs. I still just see it that way. I mean, SGA is awesome, but I think the veteran stuff with Kyrie especially, they're going to take over. And if Luka's actually hurt, they're going to make an adjustment, and Kyrie's going to have a game here in the next 2 or 3 games where he just nukes. It's coming for sure.
I think it's got to be this next game. Going into OKC, he's coming off a bad game, or a bad like scoring game. I thought he was actually pretty good, like playmaking and stuff like that for his teammates, especially early in the game.
He's passed better than he's ever passed.
Oh my God. He made a few passes early in that game, and I was like, who the hell is this? Is this still Kyrie Irving, or is this the same Kyrie Irving I'm used to watching? But one thing I thought was annoying was they went away from that high pick and roll, which Gafford and Lively were both killing OKC with on those rolls. They were throwing those lobs and those back passes where he was just kind of crashing into the boards, and then they were getting dunks and stuff like that. I felt like they went away from that, Tony. Like Dan Gafford did good early. Derek Lively came in, kind of gave him the same thing. I think they got to continue punishing OKC with the size. They have a size advantage. They got to use it for the entire game. They can't go away from it. I felt like in stretches they went away from the advantage that they have, you know what I mean, with that size. Because Daniel Gafford is just, he's a big dude and he's athletic. You know, same thing with Derek Lively, like different than Chet type players. But Kyrie Irving and Luka's passing ability, they got to stick with that, I think, because it's a huge advantage for them going into the next game. But all right, let's get into these games. I do also want to say, Run Pure Sports, if you guys haven't checked us out, RPS 15 is the promo code, still going right now, gives you 15% off your first monthly or weekly payment. And we've got single sport packages. We've got, you know, all the sports you can think of, even Rubio Dimes covering the WNBA. I don't know what that is, but Rubio Dimes is covering it. And we've got everything for you guys. Tony, golf's coming up this week. It's a big golf week, right? Big golf week for the people. Talk about that real quick and what you'll be doing for the golf, because I know you have content and maybe a show tomorrow.
Yeah, PGA week in Kentucky. I'm planning on going down at least a couple days, 2-3 days. I think we got tickets all week. Me and Wiley will head down for sure. Yeah, and we got the boys are on tonight. I think we got a 4-man panel for free tonight with four of our golf guys that Run Pure tonight at 7:30 or 8:30, somewhere in there. I don't know that. What time is the exact? 8:30.
I think it's 8:30. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to give the first breakdown, and then tomorrow for sure I will be on tomorrow night without a doubt. I don't know the exact time yet because it's going to depend on when we go to the course or if it rains. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. I don't know what that'll affect with practice rounds and stuff. But at some point tomorrow night, definitely a show from me, probably also Andy, maybe Wiley. So check that out. And Keith tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have Keith Stewart on with Wiley tomorrow afternoon, giving a course breakdown. He's also at the course. So it should be a fun week. Tons of contests. And it's the next major. And the major's the fun part now. You get all the live guys come back. So it's the only time you get to see everyone play at the same place these days, which always makes for fun. Get my boy Bryson back. He is priced up a little bit more than the last time we were all over.
Assuming we're going back to the well betting Bryson again, Tony. I just assume we're going to get a Bryson tweet.
Hopefully. I haven't fully dove in yet. I was a little disappointed at how expensive he was, though, which means maybe he's lower owned. I don't know. He was way more.
Well, I don't know what his odds are, but I would assume we're going to bet him at whatever his odds are. I mean,
yeah, I definitely like the spot better. I don't like his form as much as I did going into the Masters, but I like the actual course and spot better for him.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. If you want Big T's golf content, he'll have it up tomorrow. RPS 15. We'll have a premium show for the people. Him, Andy. It'll be at night probably sometime. So check that out if you're a member. And Keith and Wiley, 3 p.m. tomorrow. They go on for the people, so you can check them out on this channel here as well, and get all the golf content from guys like Andy Lack, Keith Stewart, Wiley 77, Big T 44, Snyder, my guy Snyder, AP, Uncle T. We got them all over at Run Pure Sports. Core plays, playbooks. Tony will have his full player pool out. Same with JBC. So we'll get all the content going for you guys for the was it PGA Championship, Tony? I'm not the big golf
PGA
guy.
Championship, the second major.
Man, they bring that down to Kentucky, huh? Bring that down to Kentucky.
Yep, Valhalla.
All right, so it's been a big couple weeks for you guys. Kentucky Derby, you get this. I think UFC is going to be down there too at some point. Like
in the next month, UFC too. I think it's in June. I'm pretty sure.
God damn, you guys are getting all this stuff. I love that. By the way, we got Mangone in the chat. Mangone is stroking himself. I don't know if he pre-whacked himself off, Tony, but he's definitely, if he didn't, he's doing it right now.
A little pre-cum to Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, Mangone just wanted to let us know that it was a good night for him. He played Drew Holiday, and he couldn't play Kyle Anderson because he wasn't on the slate in captain. So he played Drew Holiday at least. and won some money. Mangone, shout out to you. I'm glad you won money. With Drew Holiday. Now he can at least admit that guard is a much better position than forward.
Guard on that slate.
I assume you played 4 guards, Mangone, because I don't think you were shipping anything without 4 guards. I'll just throw that out there. But we got Vince in the chat. I got the wrong one here. Thunder getting no credit right now. No one thinks they'll beat Dallas. No one thinks. I mean, I think.
Isn't that the fun in the playoffs? You're supposed to have opinions.
Yeah. And again, we don't have to all agree, but at the same time, I think the one thing that throws people off about the Thunder, Tony, and I don't know if it's about with you, but this is my take on it, is I just think they're like still 1 year away from being that team. I think Jalen Williams, Chet, another year, they're going to be friggin' awesome. Like SGA is already, MVP. Like he could have been the MVP this year. He was, I think, second in the voting. So like he is there. Jalen Williams and Chet are almost there. I just think they need a little more time. Their team's super young. And I just don't know if it's this year. But hey, I mean,
I don't understand why these Thunder people think we're knocking them. Like you have your best players 25, your next 2 are 22 and 23. I mean, what do you want us to? What are they gonna run a 10-year window off? They're too young. Like. These other guys have been through wars. Jokic has been through playoff, where he lost 3-4 straight years.
And I know you weren't like referring to us. I was just trying to say it the media. Well, again, though,
who gets a brutal, first of all, hold on. Before you even die, who gets a brutal whistle? Not OKC. Come on now. No. Dude, I refuse to believe there's 8 teams left. Is there 8 teams left in the playoffs, right? 8 teams.
OKC's got to have one of the better whistles. I'll just say that. I'll just say that.
They do not get a bad whistle. Stop
it. And maybe it's not. You know what it is, Tony? The difference between regular season and postseason, I think OKC fans who watch regular season OKC, you're probably right, actually. They probably have a different whistle from the regular season to the postseason, right, Tony? Because they're used to watching the regular season where all these calls that are, a little embellished and stuff like that, they're getting all the tic-tac ones. They're not getting as much of those. That's what happens from regular season to postseason basketball. I'll just say it. If you're a Thunder fan,
gets in that series. Besides, I have a bet, but I'm neutral. And that series, the whistle hasn't cost either team. If anything, OKC in that first game got the best whistle I've ever seen for a game. But
I don't think the whistles really cost either team. I pointed out with
this anyways. I'm firmly on the team. Never blame the refs. Hardly ever. The one Knicks game, it was a really bad call. That's one of the exceptions. But they could have done things to win that game. So I'm firmly from elementary school basketball through the NBA. We're way too much on the whistle.
And I think Luka and SGA whistles just about cancel each other out. That's how I see it. They both get a good whistle. They're superstars, Tony. That's superstars. The only superstar that doesn't get a good whistle in the NBA is Nikola Jokic, and we're about to talk about him when we break down. He is literally.
Always say I'm the partial one with that, but he just doesn't get a good whistle. He just doesn't.
But it's because he doesn't do the crazy flopping and fall on the floor constantly. He doesn't do that stuff. That's why. And I'm just being fair and I love OKC. Tony knows I've been talking about OKC for I was talking about them when they were tanking. And they were horrible. And I was like, I love the coach. I love what he's doing with the young guys. He's developing guys. I love OKC.
OKC, everything about what they're doing is perfect. They got all the draft picks, all the salary cap, the young studs.
You're just set up.
Hold the path and you're going to win titles.
You're set up for years. Your GM crushes draft picks, Tony. They haven't. I feel like they've gotten so many draft picks right. I can't remember the last one they got really wrong. I guess maybe Giddey. I don't know. We'll see about Giddey.
You're not going to hit on everything, though. They've hit on so many.
But they've hit on so many, and I'm just saying they've got so many picks to play with over the next couple of years. Think about it. Their hit rate's so high, they're going to hit on a few more picks.
Yeah, and they
So,
truly only need to hit on like one more, and they're like totally loaded.
yep, 100%. Yo,
Oh,
Chet gets a little stronger in the offseason. Jalen
just-
Williams improves a little bit. SGA is already there, and they get one more dude who they can either bring off the bench, and be like a 6-man. They need like a definite 6-man, Tony. Like
yeah.
the
I,
guy they
I
look
hate
at
how
on
they
the
use their
bench.
bench too. That's the thing I
Yeah,
don't love, but that'll change too as they get older. They're not going to keep doing that. But
yeah,
I do
yeah,
want to derail
100%.
us one more second too, because this thing on Twitter, I don't get it, and I haven't talked to you about this, so it'll be interesting your opinion. So the Siege, our boy the Siege, post on Twitter yesterday that Bronny James is plus 200 to go under. I think don't quote me the exact number, but like 40th, 39.5. So not even
39 and
first
a half.
100.
Yep.
And it was plus 200, and I literally just can't believe it. And then every like know-it-all college person comes just steaming in there like, he sucks. There's no way he gets drafted, this and that. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, that's got to be the easiest plus 200 bet I've ever seen in my life that he gets drafted quicker than that. Because, I mean, you see it
Wait,
last
so
night. Bron's
is
already in
Siege
Cleveland.
on? Wait, so is Siege on the under 39 and a
I think
half, or
he's
is he
on
on
the
the
under with me, but like a lot of the other people
okay?
are on the overs. And I just literally don't get it because I mean, again, I am definitely no draft expert, not even close. But the common sense to me is LeBron's at the Cleveland game last night. I know if Cleveland drafted Bronny James, you cannot tell me they're not getting freaking LeBron with them. You just can't tell me that it's not. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah,
I
and
refuse.
LeBron.
And if it's not Cleveland, what if Atlanta takes? I know they got the number 1 pick, but what if they take him? LeBron's coming. Like, you're telling me some crappy team isn't going to take a stab in the first round? What? I'm
So
telling you why they
first
would
of
draft
all,
him there.
I'll tell you why a team is going to take a chance in under 39 and a half draft picks, and there's one reason. It's not even LeBron. Well, it is,
I mean,
but
it's
in
got to
part,
have at least
it
something.
is money. Do you
Yeah.
know how
But that's
many?
because of LeBron, though, too.
Yes. Do you know? Well, I guess it's. I'm
If his
saying it's
name was
not because of.
Niehaus, he's not going in the top 39.
I'm saying like though it's not because like to get LeBron James to like better their team. It's to sell
Yeah.
tickets. If anything, they will
It's
sell.
going to make them better, too, though.
Dude, they will sell so many tickets. They'll make so much money. They can raise ticket prices through the roof. Dude, I love it.
I literally don't
200.
understand how it's plus 200. I just are they just banking on his talent level? Like there's nothing else that comes into a draft pick?
Did you see that video of them stroking him for in the 3-point combined drill that he did, where he just hit like 20 wide open 3-pointers out of like 21 or something like that? He just like he crushed the drill or something like that. And was like, look at Bronny, he's killing it. He's hitting wide open threes, and he's just running, taking casual 3-pointers in a drill. But
He had some
he's
other like numbers too. We already know him anyways. Like
he's
the
gonna
funny
get
part was
steamed. People are going. I'm with you 100%.
and from the beginning, though, what I've said, literally from the time I watched him in the high school All-American game, I'm like, he's super athletic, just like his dad. I'm sure he's a good basketball mind because he's freaking been with his
gotta
dad
be
forever.
smart.
But he's too short. That's the issue. And he was 6'3" at USC. They measured him at 6'1" yesterday, of course, because you're always shorter than you're listed at. So he's officially 6'1". I mean, that's short, but I would just, I mean, plus 200 feels like an absolute gift to me. I just see no way some team doesn't think, and it's not like you're drawing totally dead with him either. Just him.
Nope.
Even if it's not like you're total. I mean, people are drafting guys from Europe that might never even come over. You're telling me you can't draft.
Bro, no. Cocky Kyle Shanahan. Bronny ain't selling shit. LeBron, when he comes with Bronny, is selling shit. That's what I'm saying. You just can't. LeBron is going to play with this kid. He's going to play with this kid for at least a year. He's got at least a year or two left in him if he wants to play, right, Tony? I mean, the way he looked this year,
Oh,
he
could
play.
If he went to the
play
right team
5 more years.
took a back seat. Well, wait till he gets someone like, just say it was Cleveland, like, because I think Cleveland's realistic. If you got those guards that can literally handle the ball all game and he can just stand over in the corner a little, he can play another 6 years.
I gotta
He
look
just
at
can't
this.
play. Like right now, he's still the number one like ball handler, like doing all the work, the heavy lifting. He can't do the heavy lifting another 6 years.
Correct. So you're telling me that any of these teams, like any of these, New York at 38, they wouldn't take a shot. Like
I still think the team, my personal pick where I wish they would happen is the Spurs and go play with Wemby.
San Antonio 35, number 30.
Yeah, you're telling me the Spurs can't pick him 35th to get LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, and you know LeBron loves Pop. Pop loves LeBron. Like, and on top of it, Tony, I've talked about this before, but there are differences between organizational development, right? There are certain organizations that just develop players better. You don't think LeBron knows that the Spurs are widely known for developing their youth, their young players into good basketball players. If you're LeBron, wouldn't you want your kid going to play for Pop or somewhere like that? OKC, but like somewhere where they're going to develop him and give him a chance to succeed. Greg Popovich would try.
Team. I mean, I just think one of these teams, I mean, you could go down the list. There's so many. The only way LeBron's not going with them is if it's truly just like an absolute tank of a team, like Memphis or so. Even Memphis has job, but like a team like Memphis that's just an absolute garbage can.
And to be clear, we're not saying that he should get drafted under 39.5 pick.
Yeah,
we're
not talking about his talent level.
Yeah,
although I still think he has upside based on that too, at least a little bit. I mean, he just almost died a year ago with his heart thing. You can't hold the whole year and I'm not a big fan because of how small he is, I'll be honest. But would I be stunned if he turned into a Josh Hart type player? No.
Yeah, the only thing with Josh Hart is Josh Hart's a little bigger. You know what I mean?
I was just throwing it out there because he was on my screen. Obviously, Josh Hart's a pretty lofty player.
I think unfortunately for Bronny is I think it's going to skip a kid and go to the next kid, which is I think his name's Bryce, right?
Yeah,
Bryce
has a little more height.
He's taller. He's taller. He's going to be bigger. I think he's going to end up being probably the good one.
I would love it. But the chat, Run Like says should go to just for how much B Nair is just being a little bastard in there.
You don't want to say I know some people hate LeBron, but man, LeBron in the Garden for a year would be pretty fun.
Oh, he'd get a jersey. We'd see B Nair in a LeBron jersey.
I think that's the only way we'd ever see Bean Air in the Lebron jersey.
Yeah, he'll have the LeBron jersey on.
You got a lot. I mean, come on. This is like cool conversation though. Like this is fun. But plus 200, I'm with you, Tony. Is that on DraftKings?
I honestly don't even. I just saw the Twitter debate. I'm
gonna have to find it. Because
I want to bet it too. So when we find it, we'll post it.
Yep, 100%. All right, let's. Tony's been derailing this show for the last 40 minutes. I mean, I haven't even gotten to how my friggin' prop bet smashed yesterday. If you're a Run Pure Bets subscriber, my prop bets fucking smashed yesterday. I hope you guys got on it. I saw a few people did. So yeah, we hit a bunch of bets. Appreciate SGA getting over that rebounding number at the end. A few plus money winners. PJ stroking from 3. That was the easiest bet all time. I think he hit that bet in like the second quarter. I think he went over 2.5 threes. So yeah, prop smash. But we got props today, Tony. We got new bets, new teams. Let's get into it here. Do you want to do it like we did yesterday with just the tiering, or do you want to go game by game? How do you want to do it? Since you're the boss.
I mean, it's your ship. With these games, I do like the games better just because we can talk about the teams.
Okay, so let's go game by game here. And let's start with the Pacers and the Knicks here. Knicks at home, they are favored. Now, Tony, the line, Indiana was, I think, like plus 112, and now they're like plus 105. I do feel like people are betting the Pacers, and that line is going to continue to move a little bit to maybe where they're close to. I don't know if it's going to flip, but I do feel like a lot of people. But I do feel like a lot of people are going to take the plus money on the Pacers here, even though the Knicks are at home with no OG, how the Pacers have looked the last 2 games. Do you feel like this series is just like one of those like series where the home team's going to win. You know what I mean? Most of the time. And do you feel like the Knicks bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fun series to watch. I definitely like the Knicks coming in. I definitely like the Pacers after the OG injury. And now we're 2-2, where I agree with everything you said. I think the Pacers are definitely getting bet right now. You can see it in the numbers. I mean, they're getting hit, which I think they should get hit, just if I'm being honest. Like, I think my Knicks series bet is in trouble. They're just not deep enough. But I do think I like the Knicks tonight because I just think these three can rise up one more time and make a bunch of shots, and Hartenstein can be good. Maybe they get a little bit from these bench guys. Uh, I do think they can rise up tonight and win. And just because they win tonight doesn't mean they're clearing the series without OG either. Indiana could definitely still go home and definitely still win game 7, which was why I seen some things on Twitter too. Like, why is Indiana? I don't know if it's still this way, but Indiana was favored in the series, even though the Knicks are favored in theory in game 5 and 7. And my reason for that is similar to the Boston thing we were talking about earlier, where, yeah, the Knicks are favored tonight but only by a couple. Indiana at home will be favored by a bunch. And then you go back to the Knicks in game 7, it's going to be close to a pick 'em. So that is why Indiana might be favored, because they're almost free rolling tonight, right? If Indiana wins tonight, this series is over. The Knicks are not going to Indiana and winning after losing 3 straight and not having OG. So they have to win tonight. And in the playoff series, our whole lifetime, basically, you want whoever the more desperate team is when the teams are close. The more desperate team tonight for me is the Knicks. So I got to be on it, which makes it a great night for fantasy, because we're right back to the situation where you got these 4, Brunson, Hart, Dante, Hartenstein, going to play massive minutes, although their prices, I would say, are approaching where they need to be as far as that. But still, they're going to play the whole game without foul trouble. And then one of these 3 guys is going to hopefully have a big game too. The last 2 have been Burks. I still just don't think it's Burks if they want to win. I think it's got to be Deuce McBride at home. I mean, 4K, I just feel like it has to be him, but it could be Precious too. I mean, one of these guys is going to have to step up and really get it going. But I like the Knicks, and I really like these plays tonight.
Yeah, and Chris, I will just say, you live in New York. You would think that the Knicks were down 0-3 the way people are not giving them a shot. I think the problem is just they've seen how you guys have done without OG, and they know how big of a loss OG is. And so everyone's kind of reacting to that and panicking after those 2 games in Indiana. But I agree with Tony. Like, I do think that I'm going to take the more desperate team in the Knicks. I do think the NBA definitely wants this series going 7 games. That 100% is a fact. I don't care what anyone says. More games in the Garden. They want that. That the Knicks are good for the NBA. NBA knows that. People love the Knicks. So I like them here, and I think they do win. I will say, on top of your McBride thing, I think the problem with the Knicks is they got to get away from playing this too big lineup. The Precious Hartenstein lineup, I've been yelling since OG went out. They cannot play this lineup and win. Not against Indiana. I refuse to believe. It kills their offense. They need someone, whether it's McBride or Burks or both of them. They need those guys to step up, and then they need Hartenstein and Precious to almost play just the center role. Like, one of them plays the center, and you have that offense with, Burks and McBride, and I lean McBride too. I agree with you, but I think they need to get away from this double big lineup. I don't like the double big lineup the way it is. Just play smaller and just see how that goes, because the double big lineup has not worked with no OG. Without OG, I think they need to go the opposite way and just go smaller, not bigger. That's just my take on that. But I wanted to get your take on it too, because I think that's honestly a rule I might make, where I don't want both of Precious and Hartenstein on my teams for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to agree, because I do actually agree with your point of it, where I don't like double bigs. I never do. That's why I haven't liked Minnesota's double bigs. I don't like it, but man, it's tough when your roster is what it is. I mean, to put Precious down, you got to go with Deuce or Burks. I think Burks is. I like disagree that he's looked good. I know the scoring and he's hit shots. He hasn't looked that good to me on the court, though. I mean, he's definitely made his shots, and the fantasy numbers, which we're talking about, DFS. So I am contradicting myself because he's looked good. He's 3,900. I think he's a really bad play tonight, which is only based on he's going to get a lot of ownership. I just think, which you got to go with your takes in the playoffs. I just think Deuce McBride is the answer to everything. He's played 30 minutes at both games. I know last game was a blowout, so the minutes are a little weird towards the end. But for me, I would just start Deuce and bring Precious off the bench for Deuce or Hartenstein, depending on how things are going. Preferably Hartenstein, but if Deuce is somehow looking bad, I don't see how you don't go double big, but I agree with you that they're in tough shape no matter what they do. This is why I like the Pacers plus 450, because these three have to play one of them, and that's not a playoff type player. Whereas you flip it over to like Indiana's side, they're almost too deep of guys. I bet the Knicks wish they could have like Obi Toppin back right now to be able to plop, and then even like Ben Shepherd is at least able to be on the court and stuff. So I don't know. You just have a lot more depth on the Indiana side.
The Pacers, they just play too many guys. I still say they play too many guys, but yeah, I think McBride is definitely the right answer. Now, for what you said about Burks, we're looking at fantasy numbers. So we're just looking at like, hey, listen, you can look actually bad, but if you're putting up like fantasy numbers, who gives a shit?
Only played 23 minutes, even with blowout stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, he had 20 points. The more I look at his scores,
this is the problem with Burks is if Jalen Brunson actually can get this offense going and Dante and Josh Hart, I don't think they need Burks as much. But dude, when Jalen Brunson's not playing well and Dante's not hitting threes, where else is their offense coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is when Alec Burks is needed. You know, if you tell me that they're going to play like they did in game 3 or game 2, I'm in. Like, Burks is a bad play. But if you're going to tell me they play like game 3 and 4, where only one or neither of them got there,
they're going to get pounded again if it's that way, though. So if you like the Pacers, then you should like Burks. But
so then Burks is a good play if you think they get pounded. But what I'm saying to you is they need Brunson and Dante to be really good offensively, or Burks is going to play.
I don't know why.
That's all I'm saying.
What is Hartenstein playing 42? Why is the chat saying that? I don't know what does 42 minutes have to do with anything?
Yeah, I don't know what that.
Why can't he play 35? And I don't know. We never said 42. I don't know what that even means.
Neither of us said 42. What I said is Hartenstein and Precious need to play all the center minutes. And there should be no 4 minutes for Precious. Should play all the center minutes. Whether that's 35 and whatever, like that's what we said. No one said
your minutes. You just got these three playing 48 and the two bigs playing 48.
Fucking Wiley said 42. Wiley's in the chat. He's getting everyone crazy saying Hartenstein's played 42 minutes. That's who it was. Yes, that's what I'm saying though. I don't know if it's going to happen though. Like I think Tibbs is still going to start the double big. I don't think he should. I think he should start McBride, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more okay with the Precious. I don't think he should play. I think he should play 20 minutes of Precious, but I don't agree that he shouldn't play any big because he still got two bigs the other way with Pascal and Turner. I don't think it's like terrible, but you don't have many options, which makes it good for fantasy no matter what. I mean, my take is I like these 6 and hate Burks, but that's just me. I think Burks is my least favorite play of the night by a significant margin. Like, I think he's going to bust for sure. I think he's going to get like 10 fantasy points.
All right, I like it. I like McBride anyway, so I don't really care. So yeah, that's going to be my rule though. I want one of those big. I don't want both of those bigs on my same teams. I want one Tony likes McBride over Burks. I agree with them.
These
He thinks
prices
Burks a
too,
bad
I
play.
do think they're approaching the OKC type pricing where even if they play, I have a hard time seeing all three of these guys pay off their tags too now that we're up higher. So I honestly think I only
I
want two
agree.
of those three. I mean, their price tags are big boy tags now.
I think like two of these guys get there, and Josh Hart gives you or like one of these guys gives you like the Evan Mobley, Jaylen Brown game, like the 35, 37, which
Yeah.
you don't want. You want more than that probably, but like if you get it, you're like, okay, but it's a 2-game slate, so they probably won't be like optimal in those scenarios, right? Like Jaylen Brown wasn't optimal. He actually had a good game. Like he just didn't have a great fantasy game at 37 for his tag. You wanted more in that situation, but I agree with you. That's not a bad rule either. You just say like two of these three, Tony.
Yeah, I would like to. And honestly, I don't like have a strong take on the two because I do like Brunson. But as we get to when we get to the next game too, there's other studs that we're going to want. So maybe the roster just fits better with these two or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's going to be tough for all three of them to get there, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are good rules. Did you like my big take where you just want one, or could you play both
No,
those bigs?
I don't necessarily like grouping on a 2-game slate. I don't like grouping myself out too much with that just because of the pricing, but I don't disagree the reason why you're doing it. I just on a 2-gamer, I don't want to group myself out of something like that.
I agree with Redmond too. Hartenstein low key hurt. He did seem a little hurt to
This is
me.
always what we do, though. This is my favorite. We
I
all
think
do this in the playoffs. Whenever someone starts struggling a little, we always just say they're hurt, and usually they're white dudes because they like Luka. They look more hurt up. It's like they're not always just hurt because they played bad. But I mean, he looks banged up. Everyone's banged up. It's what we always
it's the playoffs.
do.
It's the playoffs.
We always
though.
do this, though.
These
Always.
guys are gonna get banged up. Like it's gonna happen.
Jamal Murray was on life support. Now he's fully healthy a week later because
Jamal Murray
played good.
Jamal Murray like actually had an injury though. Like he's playing through an actual injury. My point is
now everyone's like, now he looks good again. He's fresh. Like it's funny.
I still don't think he looks like Jamal Murray. I still don't think he looks like 100. You think Jamal Murray's like 100%? He looks
no, but I don't think anyone is. I think everyone's banged up. It's a long year.
All right, let's go to the Pacers side here. This team, I think, is a little bit interesting because I've been playing TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin over Nembhard and Nesmith pretty much the whole series, Tony. But you're like at these projections that we're looking at right now, you're gonna have to bump them to get them over these guys. And I just think Obi's too low. I think TJ's too low. Like, I mean, I'm going TJ over Nesmith and Nembhard, even though I know Nesmith and Nembhard probably play more minutes. Like, I'm just going to do that. And you always make fun of me for, sometimes playing the guys that don't have the guaranteed upside of minutes in the playoffs over the guys that do. But I just know TJ McConnell has the ceiling upside of both those guys. And he's been really good in this series. Like, I think he's someone that the Knicks have been struggling to handle, and I don't see why that changes. And Obi really likes playing in New York, Tony. I think that's another thing. Obi in New York, I'm back on him too. So those are the two guys that stick out to me as guys I want to bump in these projections. After that, like Pascal Siakam, he's continued to not have great fantasy games for his price tag. Now the blowout, changed things, right? Because he probably would have had a better, game than what you saw if the game was closer, right, Tony? But he still hasn't really done that well. I'm going to continue to be off of him. Miles Turner's looked better last couple games. I think he's fine at his price tag. And then Halliburton, we got to rank him with the studs. You just got to put him with Brunson, Ant, Yoke, all those guys, and just be like, okay, who do I prefer at these price tags? So how are you ranking the Pacers, and who do you like the most?
Yeah, I mean, they're the most difficult team for me just because of the way that they do things. They just play so many guys that it makes it tough. Where I've been on with you on TJ and Obi. The minutes do frustrate me though. Especially now that they're up 5,100 and he's on the road, coming off a ceiling game on top of it where he hit 40 in 20 minutes, and he was just crazy good. Just because I know when push comes to shove, and you're on the road in the Garden, it's just not going to be TJ and Obi on the court when it matters. And that to me, it hurt me in game 2 when they just kind of got banished. I mean, he's going to play these three and Nesmith and Nembhard, which I do agree with you that I can't play Nesmith and Nembhard just because they really haven't shown a ceiling. And I just, man, TJ McConnell at 5,100 when I know he's going to play 20 minutes. It's just hard for me. It's just, and it's on the road now.
Is TJ going to be high owned at that projection?
No,
doesn't feel that way.
It's always projections now. Everything is projections.
Yeah.
He's 5K. I mean, no matter what, like even if we bumped him to 25, he's not going to do that much there.
Which I honestly think is a solid thing to bump him to. If you want him, right, Tony? Like if you want some TJ, like that's what you got to do.
Yeah, you have playoffs, if I wanted them, and this is what I did in the first 2 games, because I literally bumped TJ and Obi to like 30 the first 2 games, and I felt good about it. And then I kind of just thought it was the wrong move, even though they played good, just because of these minutes. Like they just don't play enough. Obi's different because, again, the difference between 5K and 4K is pretty significant. And Obi, I think, could steal minutes more than McConnell could. I think McConnell's great for what they do, but there's no way they're playing him unless Halliburton somehow had back spasms. He's just not ever getting a boost in minutes. They refuse. Carlisle refuses to bump him minutes, no matter what happened, no matter how good he plays. Anyway, so honestly, my plan, and this is what I like to do a lot on 2-gamers, that sometimes works really good, sometimes doesn't. I just don't want to play the Pacers. As bad as that sound, because I know what this next game, I know the minutes we're getting. I know what we're getting. I know what we're getting from the Knicks in a way. They only got 7 guys. The Nuggets are only going to play 7, 8 guys top. 7 guys, really. Minnesota is going to narrow their rotation even more, especially even if Conley's out. So you got like 3 7-man rotations, and then the Pacers who play everyone in the state of Indiana. Caitlin Clark might check in tonight before her WNBA game.
She plays tonight?
I mean, I don't know for sure. I think she does.
I mean, you're in Indiana. Come on. Like, or close to it. Like, you got to let us know.
Yeah. I was going to actually look at the contest for the WNBA, and I pulled it up for 1 second, and the showdown for the Indiana game was literally like $3,000 prize pool. It's like, no.
Really? That's the craziest thing ever. Like if you have and again, I don't really know shit about women's basketball. So I'm not going to pretend like I do, but it seems like this girl is just different than anyone else they've ever had. If you got someone like this, you got to be like putting her games, you got to put them up a little bit, Tony. You got to give them a good showdown for that game. You know what I mean? You got to bump prize pools when she's on the slate, like, because people are going to want to play if they're going to watch her, you know what I mean? Which it seems like a lot of people want to watch her play, you know?
Yeah. So we had a question, Swaggy Pete, Siakam viable. He's one of my least favorites, honestly. He just hasn't shown any sort let's pull him up real quick. I wish I could flip it, but so in the last game, I won't count because of blowout. But 31 minutes, 37. I mean, he hasn't cracked 40 minutes really in the Milwaukee series. He did twice. He just really hasn't seen minutes upside, and he just lives in the 30s fantasy-wise. Just lives there. And at 7,500, I just can't. And that's not to say he won't ever have a game where he gets 50, because he can. He's got the ball a lot. But you got to take chances. I just can't. A guy that that is always in like Turner's shown way more upside than Pascal, even at 900 cheaper. So I know he's only center, which is tough on this slate, but I would just not. I can't play Pascal. I can't.
I can't either.
He's the Drew Holiday play where it's just straight condom for me.
I can't either. So okay, so it seems like the two guys I'm higher on, you're a little lower on. Those are the two Pacers that I want to play, though. I think Miles Turner.
My favorite would be Obi, and Miles Turner would be my two favorites.
I was gonna say he'd be my third guy, and then Halliburton would be 4, Siakam 5th if I had to like rank them here. But I really want to play one of those two cheap Pacers, and then that's about it. Unless like somehow Turner hit my teams as a third. So yeah, that's the Pacers and Knicks here. Good spot.
Let's go to the best team in the NBA, the Minnesota Timberwolves. What were you doing on the show? The Wolf, like the Wolves or whatever you had going that day.
No, I don't know if it was the woo with the Wolves. I don't know, but I could have been going like the howl, like the Wolves like howling. Like I could have been doing that shit. But I have something to say, you know what I mean? I can't be on the Minnesota bandwagon. I was not born and bred a Minnesota diehard fan from birth, so I'm not allowed on the bandwagon. And the best part is, I don't even want to be on the fucking bandwagon. I don't want to be on the bandwagon with you Minnesota diehard fans. I'm not a diehard Minnesota fan. I'm a diehard Anthony Edwards is the top player or one of the top players in the NBA, and he's shown your asses why this postseason, and he will continue to show why he is. And Tony made fun of me because I wanted to play Ant last slate. He's like, "Of course you're gonna play Ant." Blah blah blah.
Minnesota squad either.
I'm not backpedaling off shit. I bet them. I want them to win.
Backpedaling off your squad.
No.
Don't be turning your back on them.
See, you want to put me in this Minnesota bandwagon bullshit. I don't want to be on the Minnesota bandwagon. I'm on the Ant bandwagon, owning your ass as he's doing the suck it.
Terry Niehaus, Homer Simpson.
Oh, shut it, Uncle T. All right, shut it. The only Homer on this show, is right down there. This fucking guy. Look at his hat. I don't got no Minnesota. I should get an Anthony Edwards jersey though. That's one thing I should get, but. You fucking Minnesota fans, I don't want to be on your team, okay? I'm only on one team, Anthony Edwards. That's it. If I knew his middle name, if he had one, I would say his middle name too. I don't know it yet.
Right? What'd you say? Michael Jeffrey Edwards.
Is it Jeffrey? That'd be badass if his middle name was Jeffrey, but fuck you, Tony. Okay, how about that? Fuck you. So he did everything he could last game. He tried to will his team, but at a certain point, and Tony brings this up all the time, you know, Michael Jordan had help. All these stars have help. You can be so fun. You can be the best player in the world, and I don't think he's there yet.
We've seen it. We've seen the best player in the world not win when they don't have help.
And I don't think he's there yet. I would still put Jokic as the number one guy, but you can be the best player in the world and still lose games where you play amazing because of who's around you. Especially in Minnesota, especially the last two games, he has got nothing. And I will say, game 3, he did not play well, and he admittedly said that, and he owned it. But game 4, he did everything, and Cat, Rudy, Jaden McDaniels, offensively, they just gave him nothing to work with, especially Cat. 5 for 18 from the field. He needs to give them more than 5 for 18 he has to shoot better when Ant's having that type of game, Tony. Because if Cat had a good game, they would be in position to have won that game. But Aaron Gordon dropping 26, 7 and 6, Jokic having the game he had, you're not beating Denver if Ant is the only guy going off. And I know for Denver, if Ant's the only guy going off, they're gonna be happy because I think they know they're gonna win most of those games if it's just Anthony Edwards.
This is just so sweet after the 2 games because you're literally saying what I said coming into the series, which is Ant can't win by himself. They're not going to be able to score enough. You look at this roster, and what do you think? Who's their second best player? Cat. Who's their third best player? Who knows?
The only thing I will say is Aaron Gordon going to continue to be as good as he was last night?
He's got Rudy Gobert or Naz Reid on him. He is.
That was an outlier game if I ever saw
Well,
one. I'll just say
obviously
that.
the scoring was an outlier, but the rim runs and the rebounding
Yeah,
and the
but Tony, he's going to get opportunities to score again.
then he's
I
going to
feel like
crush again. He's going to
okay. So
yeah.
he's got to be your favorite play on Denver. He's
Well,
got to be.
besides obviously,
With price included, he's got to be your favorite play on Denver. You
yeah.
can't
I mean, I
tell
think
me that and then say he's not your favorite play on Denver.
I just think the Denver guys are mispriced a little bit, where their rotation is way cleaner than people think. Like Reggie, you don't even need to think about him. Peyton Watson, don't even think about him. You got 7 guys, and these 2 guys, which we said going into last game, no one's played Ant better than Christian Braun. As crazy as that sounds, and people are going to be like, Ant went off still. I get it. Ant's going to go off. He's going to, but Christian Braun is playing good basketball against him, making him work, making him shoot the fadeaways. I mean, these price tags, Justin Holiday, I made fun of him. So I talked about all the good takes I had that I didn't like Justin Holiday in this series. I thought it was a bad fit, and he's played great. He's made every open shot. Will he continue to make every open shot? Who knows? Probably not. KCP is the only guy on Denver that is overpriced is KCP. The other guys are all like Aaron Gordon at 6,200. There's no way. If he's only 25% owned, that's crazy. It's because people don't watch the adjustments. How is Minnesota going to counter back from what Denver did? Putting the ball in Gordon's hands, letting him rim run when he doesn't have it. What's their counter to that? Who are they putting on him?
And he's
Are
got
they going to bench Rudy? If Minnesota has any balls, they will bench Rudy Gobert tonight for Naz Reid. That's if they got any balls left in the hole.
I've been saying this for the last 2 games, and then you come out now you're saying what I've been saying for the last 2 games.
He's not going to guard freaking Gordon, though. Gordon's going to whoop his ass.
I don't care, though. Anything's better than Rudy guarding him. I just refuse to believe that anyone can watch these games and tell me that you think that's their best option. Like, I refuse to believe it. I don't care how many defensive player of the year awards he's won. Like, I just, if you can't guard the other 7-footer on the other team as the big stiff on your team, then you are useless in this spot. And Rudy is useless because he'll get owned by Nikola Jokic. So you can't put him on Jokic.
I got 47, brother.
I got 40. God, you love bringing up that. That is one of the best stories. That surfaced through my Twitter at one point, that story recently when you were posting all the Denver stuff over the last couple of days.
We need to talk about, though, because we missed it yesterday. What happens when Conley actually sits? What's their 5? Like, who do they start with?
So I think that means Kyle Anderson gets a bump in minutes because Nas already playing a good amount of minutes. I think Kyle Anderson gets the biggest bump in minutes. They probably play Monte a little bit too, but I would assume it's either Kyle Anderson or Nah gets shoved into the starting lineup. That would be my assumption, Tony.
You think who? Nah
or Kyle Anderson starts is what I would say. One of those 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, well, for the Minnesota fans, I know I'm partial, but if Conley sits, man, you got some issues this evening.
If Conley sits, you better pray. We will need Nah to have a good offensive game, play make a little bit, because the one thing Conley does still do, even at his older age, Tony, is set guys up. Right? He does play make a little bit for him. Even, I'm not saying he's like doing what Kyrie Irving was doing last night, but
he's solid.
He still does get people in position. He's a vet. He knows kind of,
and he hits every open shot, which is the key part. He's made every shot in the series, I think.
Yeah. So I hopefully he plays. Hopefully this is nothing, and it's, he's going to suit up and give it a go. But if he doesn't, I agree with you. It's got to be probably Nah or Kyle Anderson starting, and those are the guys I would give the bumps to, right, Tony? Like from DFS perspective.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Kyle Anderson just has to be a good play if Conley's out. The funny thing is that if Conley's in, I think he's a terrible play, even at 3,400. But if Conley's out, it just shows you how the difference kind of the roles and stuff. So I think it would be Kyle Anderson makes more sense to me. Just because if you play literally like three of the same guys, McDaniels, Ant on the defensive side, they're all like wings that can guard. You can have a little too much of that too, where the Clippers have kind of found that out at times where you have everybody that's the same. You just get punished in certain areas. Like none of those guys can create either. Like these two can't. Obviously, Ant can create. I wasn't throwing him in that bucket, but these two can't create really at all in this spot. They're going to need either way. Like has to be good. We talked about who's their number 2. Na's got to be their number 3 offensively. Like he's got to be better for them to have any chance. He's got to have like a 30 fantasy point game for them, or McDaniels, but I don't think McDaniels is as capable as offensively. So I think Na just has to be the guy to play better tonight.
Yeah, because McDaniels, for him to do that, I think he's just got to hit a bunch of shots. And I don't even know if he takes the volume of shots to like do it, because the only other way he can do it, Tony, is if they have like that advantage to where like he doesn't have a massive size advantage when it comes to like MPJ or Aaron Gordon. This is like, he likes to take advantage of his like size and length and get like offensive rebounds and easy putbacks and run the floor. You don't have that with Denver because they play MPJ at the 3, who's what, 6'10", Tony? Like he's pretty tall
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got Aaron Gordon, who's a big 6'9", somewhere around there, 6'9", 6'10", probably. So, and then Jokic. So it's just not the team where he's gonna, his size is gonna be a thing like on the glass or anything like that. So
I just don't see it. I know I'm partial. I don't see how Minnesota's not getting torched tonight. I just don't see it.
So I got a question for you. Did you bet when they were plus 400 yesterday? Have you bet Denver
I didn't bet
to win
after
the title?
game 3. I bet after game 2, though. I didn't double down. I bet pre-series, and I bet after game 2 when it was a really big. I didn't bet after game 3, though.
So you bet when it was 12-1?
I didn't get 12-1, but I got like 10-1 or 11-1.
Okay.
I got a big number. It wasn't.
You got a big number.
But I didn't bet again after game 3. I should have doubled down again, but I didn't.
And I said it on our show too. I said, if you're a Denver backer, this is your time. Like you go in there and you take that big number and you just say, I'm in. Like I'm already in. You might as well take that because you're never getting that number again.
Yeah.
Like you're just not. Like,
and
even if
once they get past this series too, like there's just I just see no way they don't beat Dallas or OKC. And I mean, people can call me a homer, and it's always one injury away too. But as long as they keep their health, I mean, there's no way they're losing that next one.
Yeah, Frank said Antonio.
Why does everyone keep asking us about Siakam?
Yeah.
Whenever this happens, I'm just throwing this out there. Whenever this shit happens,
he crushes.
Keep asking about some guy that I hate. They always crush. It's like a sign from above that they literally always do it to us, and it's just now it's like messing with my head.
Okay, well, here's something. Let's look at where he is, like, with everybody else in the range, and you tell me if you like or who you like over him, right? So Josh Hart, Jamal Murray, Pascal Siakam, Dante DiVincenzo, and I'll throw Cat in there. Yeah. You got those 5. Where do you rank Pascal Siakam? Because I think this would help people more than, just what do you think about him?
The bottom for me.
He's 4 or 5?
I mean, there's no way I'm playing him ahead of Hart. Jamal's 7,600. I'm not playing him over Jamal Murray at home. I'm not playing him over Dante, who's going to play 48 minutes. I'm not playing him over Cat, who needs to score tonight.
Cat.
I mean, there's no way, which just means the way these spots have gone for me, Drew Holiday, the last couple, he's just going to pound it right up there with no protection, just right up the chute.
So Frank Nitti just jam Siakam tonight is what
anyone that wants to punish me with Pascal tonight in his 40 piece. Because in all seriousness, how in the world can you play Pascal over these guys? There's no way.
No way. Yeah, I can't do it either. So Jerry Stacks, no more Defensive Player of the Year awards for Rudy after next year. Wemby's already here, bro. He's winning it next year, I think.
He should have won it this year.
He should have.
There's no one that bothered Jokic more than Wemby. And if the MVP gets bothered, That's who should win the freaking. It's like you said about Gobert.
Yep.
Jokic wants him on him. Jokic does not want Wemby on him. I promise you, he doesn't want Wemby on him. But there's no. He might beat him up still. He would in a series. He would still beat Wemby up, but he doesn't want him on him.
I can't tell you how many times. Like, I can't tell you. I've seen this where Jokic does that like spin and he gets the defender under the rim to where he just does that little like, bunny hook, like his patented little, he creates the space, he gets him off of him, and then it's just an easy layup, Tony. I've never seen someone recover under the rim, Tony, being his body's under the rim and block that bunny hook like Wemby did multiple times.
It's only my two cards, Jokic and Wemby, the two rookies. I got them here, the two aliens.
I've never seen anything. I've never seen anyone do that to Jokic, but Wemby so effortlessly.
How good he's going to be in like 3 years. Like it's going to be insane.
I already think like talent wise, he's up in the top 15 or 10. It's
literally 100% health with him. If he stays healthy, that's why some of these teams need to start winning
which
titles
I think he will. I think he will, Tony. You see, like he puts a ton of effort into like his body. Like he's not one of those superstars that goes home and just sits on the couch. Like that dude's like, he's doing everything possible to say like super, like, not just strong because he's not like there strength wise, but he's stretching and doing all this crazy like mobility, which I know you don't really care about. But as a dude that big, you need to be mobile, like your hips, everything. You have to be mobile, super mobile, like freakishly mobile. And he is. And that's the difference I see between him and some of these other guys that have came in. He definitely loves basketball. He wants to be great. He puts a ton of time into his body. And that's huge when it comes to someone like him, because health is going to be what, like you said, it's not about if he's going to be great. It's about if he's going to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's already friggin' great. We know it. Like
these other teams got to win now too, because once this sets in and he gets a little bit of help, he's gonna win titles. So you better get yours now, because once he gets to the top of the mountain and wins the MVP, which he will at some point,
he will.
People aren't gonna just catch up to him. Like he's gonna stay there for a minute, and that goes for everybody. Like that goes for SGA, that goes for Ant, that goes for all these young guys. I still would have Wemby his ceiling, but he's got a lot more risk for injury than those guys too, I think. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, his ceiling though is
his ceiling is as high as anyone's ever been, including LeBron James.
Yep. Side note too, what do you think about like the rumors of like if they were to trade for Trey Young? Because I saw that someone posted like a hypothetical. I think it was FanDuel posted like a hypothetical trade.
Yeah, I mean that was a terrible trade, but
which is like 3 first-round picks and Keldon Johnson. And I'm like, what are you guys on drugs? Like 3 first-round picks, 2 of them that are guaranteed in the top 10. And I get the draft's not as strong, but still like guaranteed top 10 picks and
There's
another
no way
one.
They were ever doing that ever.
No way. And I don't even know if they would trade Devin Vassell. Like, I wouldn't trade Devin Vassell.
That would be a more interesting one. Just because I do think Trey like fits really good with Wemby, just because you can play off him similar to Jokic and Jamal in its own way, where you can throw that high thing. I think Trey fits really good with that. But like, if it was just Vassell, which I think that trade makes sense for Atlanta, something like that. Like that's
more fair, I think. Honestly,
for both teams, because it gets a little bit more of a veteran for the Spurs. I don't know, some trade like that.
If I'm San Antonio, I want to keep Vassell and Wemby, and I think everyone else is on the table. Like anyone else you want, you could have in a draft pick, maybe 2, but like no way, like 3 first-round picks. I think that's.
I mean, there's literally no way they would do that. I mean,
let's see. We got Antonio Murphy says all in on Porter, especially over Gordon tonight. And then someone asked,
why, though. So this is always what people do, though. Like with bounce back, you got to have a reason with the adjustments. I mean, why? As a Nuggets guy, why is MPJ a better play than Gordon? I don't get it.
Because I guarantee in their mind, they're looking at Aaron Gordon had a ceiling game. He hasn't had a game like that.
Why did he have it, though, is the question.
He had it because he was the dude bringing up the ball. He was way more centered in the offense.
Yeah.
He is playmaking, which, again, if they do that, I like his over assist number at 4.5. That's a bet that I'm probably going to bet at over 4.5. It's usually 3.5, but that role, I think, is just, it changes everything for someone like Aaron Gordon in the prop.
Series flip too, like where when you find the adjustment, the other team has to adjust back. And I just don't think I said it after game 2. I'm like, the adjustment is put the ball in Gordon's hand because Jamal can't bring the ball up in this series. They pressure him too much, take some pressure off him. And whoever Gobert and this is different when they're guarding Jokic because they can pick him up. But whoever is guarding Aaron Gordon, have him bring the ball up. They're not going to use one of their big defenders on him. They're not going to put McDaniels or on Aaron Gordon. Like, it's just not going to happen. So if Gobert's on the floor, whoever he's guarding should bring the ball up because now I'm making fun of the defensive player of the year again. But whoever he's guarding, they don't want him out there. So that's the
Tony.
adjustment.
I don't know how many people are used to our shows, but I think some people at least should be used to that by now with how much we talk about Rudy Gobert and what we say and everything.
He's literally sucked.
I will just say,
he got traded to Denver.
I will just say I agree with you 100% on the MPJ thing. I think a better path would be just betting his over on threes because he's a 3-point shooter. Like, that's what he's doing in this series. He's not really doing much else. He's like scoring. Aaron Gordon, he's rebounding. He's getting assists in his new role. Like, I agree with you. I think there's just more pass for him.
Next series, you go right back with Porter. Every series is different. Porter's a better like offensive player, but they don't need him in this spot.
Look at last series, though. Michael Porter Jr., even LeBron came out and said, we could not, like MPJ, we could not do anything with that dude. Like, he killed us, LeBron said in that podcast with JJ Redick. He's like, he was the one that killed us, and we just had no answer because, like, the way he shoots, LeBron's like, he doesn't see you. Like, you could be in his face with a hand up, but he legit just doesn't see you because he gets up so high, he leans back a little, and he's so tall. Like you said, he's a legit 6'10". So, but again, that's the series thing. Like, every series, you're going to be adjusting. This is just the adjustment, and I agree with you. I think it sticks tonight.
So I've been asked this a few times. I just kept forgetting to answer. So I think Denver has them figured out, but I also think this game is pretty low scoring. I think it's a good defensive game. I think I wouldn't be shocked if both teams were around 100 or a little less. But yeah, I mean, my issue with Minnesota is still the same. I love Ant. I like Cat even at 6,900. But then you get to these guys, I just can't play. If Conley's out, everything's different too. Just like in game 2 when Gobert was out, everything got pushed up. Like, if Conley's out, I think Kyle Anderson is maybe one of the best plays. Monte Morris even has to be a good play. If Conley's in, showdown play, Monte. I can't play any of these guys if Conley's in. I just can't. I just like McDaniels and they're 4K. I just can't do it. But if he's out, everybody but Gobert becomes a good play if Conley's out.
Yeah, if Conley's out, if you're on Minnesota still, they need McDaniels or Kyle Anderson, probably 2 of those 3 guys to be good. They need it. So from that standpoint, I would change my base, but I agree with you. Right now, if Conley's in, those guys aren't as good of plays as some of the other guys we've talked about in that range. I still do think, though, even if Conley's in, I think Minnesota needs one of McDaniels or to be good. Like,
it's gotta be It just has to be
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be him. So, again, he hasn't been good in the series, really, outside of, was it game 2? I think he was really good in. He's got a low floor, but at least he does have upside. I mean, he's got to hit his threes. He hasn't hit his threes in 3 of the 4 games. He's went 1 for 5, 4 for 7 in game 2. That was the big fantasy game. And then 0 for 3, 0 for 4, Tony. If he goes 0 for 4, he's going to score 9 fantasy points again. But what if he goes 4 for 5, 5 for 6? So he's the one guy I think you could be higher on regardless of the Conley news, because maybe let's say Conley's banged up, but he only plays like 30 minutes. He can't
So
play that
because
extra
it's a
like
key
4.
range too. I mean, just look at like the 4. So right next to him, you got Deuce McBride. I mean, that's just my issue though. Like,
Yeah.
you got
You
Obi
gotta play
above. Like,
Deuce.
look at the guys around the Minnesota guys. You don't like Precious, but still Precious or
Yep.
McDaniels. I have a hard time thinking you're taking McDaniels over Precious, even if you hate Precious.
You know what's funny though? This is where we argue, because you're like the minutes. How can I play some guy who's
I
playing?
think McDaniels like sucks.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying though, McDaniels, if he's not in foul trouble, is playing 38 minutes tonight.
And just standing in the corner all night though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But my point is, Precious could play 30 minutes
Or
could
10.
play 20.
Yeah.
Like
No,
there's
I agree
a
with that.
difference.
But I don't love either. But like Deuce McBride or nah. Like
Yeah. I can't.
Obi. Like,
I gotta play Deuce and Obi over Nah. I agree with you 100%.
I
saying
kind of
though,
do though, but then I flip it back to my Burks. How I hate Burks. I like Nah more than Burks at the same price. I like McDaniels. So the only guys I like Minnesota more in is Burks. I like these Minnesota guys over Burks.
Yeah,
if I'm ranking the whole range.
I agree with you. I think that's kind of McBride topping.
Deuce McBride's got to have a big game tonight. He's just got to. It's kind of the whole range though, right? Like we think Nah and McDaniels need a big game. We think either Precious or McBride or Burks needs a big game. Obi's in here. This is the range where you gamble a little bit on who you think actually steps up, because they all have somewhat low floors. Even McDaniels and Nah playing big minutes. I mean, their floor is literally like 7.
They got really low floors, 100%.
They just don't do anything. Like,
yeah. I mean, I will put it to, if you guys didn't watch, if you watched the Cleveland game, go back and watch the first quarter with Karis LeVert, where he was handling the ball and doing everything and getting rebounds, and then watch the last 2 quarters where he stood in the corner for 95%. When you stand in the corner, it is really hard to acquire fantasy points, Tony, because you're there. Like, you're not moving. Like, you're just standing there hoping you get the ball to shoot or to drive, like pump fake and drive. But you don't have as many outs when you're the dude like handling the rock, though, like Conley, like Ant, right? You have more outs, Aaron Gordon. So you want guys that are in the play more, less guys that are standing around just hoping they touch the ball. And unfortunately, that's Jaden McDaniels. That's Nah right now, the way it's playing on offense. So that's what makes them tough plays. But I still think Nah should be in your pool on a 2-game slate. Christian Braun, I assume you like too. He's the Denver cheapie you like.
I love Christian Braun and Holiday. They're good. Denver's only playing 7 guys, and these are 2 of them, and they're min price. And I honestly think their matchup is decent because they get wide open shots when they're in.
100%. I agree with you. I know he hurt his knee, king of all trades. I'm just saying the difference between when the guy is the primary ball handler and when the guy is in the corner. Like, you would see the difference if you just watch that game. I get why he was in the corner.
Christian
I understand
Brown's
that.
Crazy too. His story, the people haven't. He won 3 straight high school titles, a college title, and then an NBA title. Talk about a guy that just falls into stuff.
Wait a second. Time out. You stroke me for what you kill me when I fucking get on my guy. You love Christian Braun. This is when your homerism comes out.
No,
you love him. Dude, I've been listening to you talk about how great he is on defense and how he needs
2 games.
Christian Braun. Oh, you've been talking about it too. You
literally never said it.
You said it after game 1, how he's guarded Ant the best. You've been talking him up this whole series. You love to talk up your guys, and then you give me shit when I go over the top on somebody. It's just,
I don't even like
it's
Christian
crazy.
Braun is the funniest part. I really don't. I just like him on Ant. Next series, I promise you, I'm not going to be like, oh, I love Christian Braun. Maybe I will, because maybe he keeps getting better. But
yeah, I think you will. I think you're going to be like, we need him.
When he had that one game where he made every play for a full game.
I mean, I do think you guys do need someone off the bench to give you something. Like,
absolutely, because KCP.
100%.
What happens if KCP actually does anything? He's been horrendous.
I mean, KCP is clearly hurt too. There's another guy who's just like banged up and At least he's gutting through it though, Tony. I respect the guys that gut through it and play, give it a shot.
Rick, this is similar, but Braun doesn't just stand in the corner either. And it's the 4K versus 3K debate that we've had forever on these shows, where if Christian Braun was the same price as McDaniels, I would not be on Christian Braun.
You would say he's the worst play on the board in that range, 100%.
And vice versa, if McDaniels was 3,400, which I think he should be closer to that, I would like him. So that price is a big difference to me.
And and when we talk about these players too, you gotta always take price into your consideration when you're talking through these guys.
We hate Cat, right? If Cat's 8K, we're never playing him, but he's 6,900. You have to consider him.
Exactly. Like Cat at 8K, bro, I axe him. Like I don't even he's not even in thought on a 2-game slate. But Cat at 6,900, I gotta look at him a little bit. So
we never do this, but let's show you how cool the Saber Sim stuff is. Let's go FanDuel, NBA. Let's see if any of the prices stick out, because we don't usually do this, but we got a good little audience here. Let's see if
someone wants us to touch on FanDuel real quick too, Tony. I mean,
first time we've been. That's what I was pulling up.
Can pull it up.
Yeah. So let's see the prices. So the Knicks. I mean, man, you got Brunson over 10. The FanDuel's pricing is way tougher than DK. It looks like all these.
I felt like I've said that all year too, Tony. By the way, with FanDuel, where I feel like their pricing was a little tougher than normal. Like normally, you get a lot of free squares on FanDuel throughout the years. I feel like this year the pricing's been a little tougher, to be honest.
It's definitely tough here. I mean, there's not a single guy that looks that cheap. Hartenstein looks. I mean, you got Dante almost 8K. So does anything stick out for you with the Knicks? I mean, they look tougher to me. I'm still gonna like them because they're minutes, but I mean, these prices are somewhat tough.
So I think it's interesting that Miles McBride is only point guard eligible. You got a few good point guards on the slate, which is so dumb. I agree, but he's someone that I just want to play. So he's definitely someone that I'm going to push into my lineups. TJ McConnell being that much of a difference between Nembhard is kind of wild that he's that big of a gap.
Position, actually, it's an interesting way to look at it. Just because we did the other one game, so here's your point guard you're talking about. So who's your two that stick out to you?
Well, here's the funny thing, Tony. I would assume Conley on this slate, being point guard only at 6,100, would probably be decently owned, just because he's in that mid tier. So if he gets ruled out, I mean, that changes a ton of things, right? With that mid-tier range, because there's a TJ and then kind of a drop off, and then there's a big price gap between the next two. But
you got freaking Halliburton almost 10K too on FanDuel.
I probably can't pay that when he's that close to Brunson. Jamal Murray at 8,100 too. I just think I'm either going to pay up for Brunson and pay down, or I'm going to go mid-tier and down for both point guard spots, because I don't really love point guard, and I don't know if I want to prioritize Brunson over Ant, which I'm going to want Ant. And you even got Jokic. I mean, he is 12K, but, center only. So I don't know about you, Tony, but I might be prioritizing Ant, so I might be spending down at point guard, just the way it looks. McBride for sure. McBride for sure.
Yeah, I think McBride's a borderline lock.
And then it's, I mean, TJ or Nembhard.
Ownerships, which is crazy. The two lowest owned guys, according to this, is TJ and Deuce. they're the, and I'm not playing freaking Reggie Jackson, so get him off there.
I might. That might be my point guards right there, TJ and Deuce.
5,600 for TJ though. Oh man, to play 20 minutes.
Again, there's not many options though. There's not many options.
I'm playing Brunson in.
Okay. Though that's the only other way I would go, I think.
Because there's no way I'm paying that. Jamal, I don't love in this series. I mean, you could play Jamal, though. Say 2K really made a big difference. You could go to Jamal. Jamal would be my number 3, though. I would rank him Brunson. Actually, Deuce number 1 for me. Deuce, Brunson, Jamal for me. What's your 3?
Yeah, Deuce, and then probably Brunson, TJ. If I was just ranking them. Yeah. And someone said Morris, min price.
If Conley's out, then Morris definitely is in play at 3,500. But I'm just leaving him in until they roll him out, I guess. But Yes, absolutely. Monte's in play. And honestly, Monte is the type of player that I think gets helped more by Conley being out. I didn't talk about this earlier because he can at least create a little bit, a tiny bit. And he used to play for Denver, a little extra boost there. I can see him somehow stepping up and being like the creator because those other guys aren't necessarily capable. I think he's at least capable of driving a little bit and getting some things done.
Yeah, and Paul says McBride Burks on the winner on FanDuel. If you like Indiana, like blow the Knicks out tonight or beat them up, like
Paul Goebel has sent that same message like 9 times since we started the show about
what?
McBride with Burks.
Oh,
DK,
playing
that
them
was
both?
his DK winner too, McBride and Burks.
Well, he might like Indiana to win by 20 tonight. You don't know. Like you might like the blowout route. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it works. I'm just saying,
Shooting
if you
guard.
like it.
Shooting guard is where I would get very interesting. And this is how I think you fit the studs in. You got my two guys down here at min price, 37 and 36. My two nuggets, and it's a bad position, I think, because first of all, the guys we like up here are also eligible at forward. I don't like Nembhard. I can't play KCP. I'm definitely not paying 4,300 for Burks. No chance. Nah, though, same thing. I like Nah better here. And this is a price for Nah. So you got Nah, Brown, Holiday. I am definitely playing 2 of those 3 at shooting guard. Definitely.
Yeah.
I actually like Nah a lot. I might
Nah
like
and Brown seemed like the 2 plays to me.
Yeah. And if somehow 300 you need to get up to a stud or even 100, then you could go down to Holiday if you needed to. But I mean, Nah might be the best play on FanDuel at 3,900.
Yeah, and then just like you said, to get in the studs, like I assume you want to play Edwards, or maybe you don't.
I
You
want
want to pay.
Brunson too, so I want those 3.
Okay.
And it's not that hard on FanDuel to get that.
Yeah. So can you? No, you can't play. Can you play all 3 of? Yeah, you could actually. You could play all 3,
especially if you.
Yep. No, you could. And you could still play Tony, which I assume you want Aaron Gordon at power forward, right?
Yeah, hold on. I'm putting it in on this other screen. So you got Brunson, Deuce.
We're almost giving away a whole team right now, but
FanDuel, we're allowed to on FanDuel.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nah. I can't get Nah to pop up for some reason.
You can definitely do it though. I'm looking at it right now.
So Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, Nah, Christian Brown,
Anthony Edwards, and Nikola Jokic. That's 5,100 per spot.
That's like a lot of salary left too on top of it. That's not even like getting in the weeds. So that is easy. So there's our shooting guard. Let's move over to small forward, what we just talked about. Ant, DiVincenzo I like better. Porter I like at 6,200. Okay. Not playing him, not playing McDaniels really that much. Nah, though, we got Nah and Brown here at forward as well. So yeah, I mean, at basically it's that range for the most part.
Yeah, because I'm gonna want to play one of those 2 Knicks guys, and then Ant.
And if Conley's out, Kyle Anderson at 36 is
if Kyle
maybe an even better play than Nah.
But he's power forward too, so you can play him at small forward or power forward.
So we got some really we talked up the pricing, and there's a decent number of good values tonight, actually.
Yeah,
power forward. Let's look there. See if anything. Hart, Pascal. Pascal is a little cheap for FanDuel, but still don't love it. Cat though, see, this is where the pricing's different. FanDuel, they got a decent number between these two. Now they're the same, and Cat is center too, which doesn't matter that much, but. And like, look at Hartenstein, who is power forward. I mean, he's got to be. Him and Gordon have to be infinitely better plays than a lot of this other range.
Yeah, and I said I don't really like Hartenstein on DK, but I feel like he's definitely a better play on FanDuel here, just from what I'm looking at right now. So
Hartenstein's going to be a core play for me at 5,900. I mean, maybe.
Got OB. Nas is 4K. Nas dropped down too. I didn't even realize he dropped down
And he's the type of guy that could definitely get the boost, because if they have any balls, like I talked about 20 minutes, they're going to put, even if Gobert starts, well, I'm sure Gobert will start.
He's
really
starting. 100% he's starting. But if they have the balls, they won't play him 30 minutes. They'll play him 25, and they'll give Nas an extra 5 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah. And at 4K, like, man, I like him. I like Obi, like at 44. Like, I like those. So you have a lot of plays right there. Like,
a lot of plays.
Easily can get those 3 stud lineups in.
And then center, I mean, you only have 3 that are only center, and 2 of them are Rudy and Turner. So I think center is just there's no way I'm fading Jokic on a 2-game slate. So I mean, Jokic he's going in there at center. I don't. If you weren't playing Jokic though, where would you go? I mean, Hartenstein you can play at forward, so you don't need. I mean, you could play him at center, but I mean, I don't even really. In Nas, you could, I guess, but if I wasn't playing Jokic, I would definitely go down to these cheaper guys. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not playing Rudy or Turner on FanDuel.
I was gonna say, like, I guess maybe you just go down to the cheaper guys. But if you're not playing Jokic, Tony, you're gonna have money to spend.
And we can just fit Jokic so easy. Like, there's no reason not to.
The only thing we're not gonna have, though, we're gonna end up being lower on like probably one of Dante or Josh Hart. Which
I'm okay with on FanDuel, because they're DK. Like we said, they're expensive.
They're expensive. Yeah.
I really struggle to see all 3 of those Knicks Villanova guys crush. They're just too expensive. They can't. There's not enough points.
Yeah, and you would think if Dante and Josh Hart both crush, it's gotta hurt Jalen Brunson's just a little bit, like where he gets 50, but he's not on the winner or something like that. Yeah. Even then, like, I don't know. So. Look at Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was 1 free throw away from not being on the winner, and he crushed. Like, you can have a good game and still not be on the winner just with construction. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. There's a little FanDuel breakdown for the people here. So, Tony, we got to give our winners here, and then give our favorite play. I mean, we talked through everything. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. Hit the like button, too, if you guys enjoyed the show. Hit that thumbs up. RPS 15 is the code for 15% off. If you want to get all the winners, you've got single sport packages for golf, NBA, all the way up through the finals. You got pretty much every sport we got covered if you want the all-in package, or you can get the single sport and check it out. But Tony, who are you betting tonight? Who's the winners?
So for me, I mean, I'm definitely betting the Knicks, even though I'm definitely a little nervous about it. I was on the Knicks coming in. I think they rise up tonight, though, and get it done. And then I think Denver, obviously, is going to lay the smack down there. My play of the day, though, is going to be Deuce McBride. I don't like the Burks play. I don't really like Precious with you. So that leaves one guy that has to step up. For me, it's Deuce, but honestly, I think if you like Precious, I think that should be your play of the day. If you like Burks, that could be your play of the day. I think it has to be one of those 3, though, because one of them has to step up at home, or they're just going to get blown out, and then you could go a completely different route. And honestly, we didn't talk about it. There's so much game theory that goes into these slates. If you think it blows out, you can gain a significant edge by going heavier on that second game and just not playing as much in the first one. And I don't see it happening, because at the Garden, I just don't think they get blown out at the Garden. But without OG, anything's possible. I would be stunned if the Knicks blew the Pacers out, though. I'll say that much. I think that the Pacers could blow them out more than the other side. But Deuce McBride, play of the day. Knicks and the home ice tonight for the wins for me. Knicks and Nuggets.
All right, so I'm gonna give since you gave out, I mean, I love Deuce too, so I'm gonna do, instead of a play of the day, I'm gonna give a little single game parlay here. We're gonna go just a 3-man, so nice little 3-man. Josh Hart over 12.5 rebounds, Miles McBride over 1.5 threes, and Obi Toppin over 8.5 points. That's plus 470 over on DraftKings. You get a little single game parlay from me. Hit a couple of them yesterday, so with the props, hopefully we can come back and hit some more. But yeah, I got the Knicks. I'm staying with the Wolves here. I think that this series can go 7, and we've seen it go back and forth where one team looks bad, the other team looks great, and it's a sweep. And then, next thing you know, everyone's dead. There's no chance. Minnesota's dead, and Denver's just going to run away with it and sweep 4 games in a row. So I'll go with the Wolves here. I'll take it. I just too much respect in my boy Anthony Edwards to not stay on him and respect him.
Get you tilted on the way out. What happens when Ant doesn't have the best game of his life for once? Then what's going to happen to the team?
You mean like game 3? where he
was been pretty good the whole series, but game 4 was amazing.
I felt like game 3 was the one. I felt like game 3 though, Tony, was like the one game where like even he knew he like dropped the ball and didn't do it. But man, if he doesn't have a good game and 2 of those 3 guys that we talked about don't step up, Kat, Jaden, like if 2 of those 3 guys don't step up and carry him a little bit, they're going to lose by 30, like literally 30 tonight. So hopefully Kat has a big game. I think Kat's one guy just for DFS from like a leverage standpoint. Man, like at some point he's going to have like one game like he did against Phoenix, right? It was the last game, I think, against Phoenix where he just went nuke. And at some point he's going to have another game like that and crush like he did. I think it was game 2, but he's going to have it again. He's going to could be tonight.
16 for 25 and 65 fantasy points.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's going to get that. I mean, that's kind of crazy. You're trying to tilt me right now. Get the fuck out of here.
I wanted to do it on the way out.
I mean, seriously, we go through this whole show. It's been like an hour and a half, 2 hours almost, and then you just try and get me tilted at the fucking end. This is what he does, people, and I deal with him every day, and this is what he does. So if you want to enjoy me just getting tilted all day, come join Run Pure Sports. RPS 15 is the code. Get Tony's core plays, all of his content. We'll have the showdown sheet up for the late game with all our core plays, our fades, our unders, cores, slams for the day. Tony's content for Golf content. We'll have it tomorrow, and the premium show probably 8 or 9 p.m. So check that out. Use the code RPS15. Hit the like button on your way out. And that's going to do it, guys. Hope you enjoyed everything. Until tomorrow, good luck in all your contests tonight for Big T and myself, JSU. It's all Run Pure, and hopefully ship something tonight. Until then, we're out. Peace.